Hi there! Today we're going to be installing this Dinan cold air intake onto my F80 BMW M3. Obviously this procedure works the same for F82, F83, and I guess the new M2 competition. So what exactly is a Dinan cold air intake? Well, on the right side of the engine you have this pipe that goes over and it continues with this top of the intake, but essentially it's made out of this high quality carbon fiber. You've got this coupler here and a new housing for the MAP sensor, and then all it is really a new cover that goes over the OEM box. This new cover houses this larger filter, which apparently gives you, I think, 20% more airflow. But again, if the tubing is the same, I don't know what the improvement is going to be other than bling under the engine bay. On the left side, you have just this cover that goes over the stock airbox, and again, you put the filter in here, and that's all it is. So just like in the previous video where I showed you how to replace these filters, we're gonna have to take some stuff off. So this cross brace is going to have to come off. To do so, we're going to have to lift up these plastics and unbolt these bolts. But again, it's very straightforward to do, and then that should be it. Then we get to these MAP sensors, unbolt the top box covers, and put in these new Dinan intakes. And with everything exposed, we can start unbolting the brace using a 13mm socket. And keep in mind that the bolts in the front are much shorter than the ones in the back, so when you're putting everything back together, don't mix it up. One last thing is this coolant reservoir that we have to undo using a 10mm socket. And now we should be able to simply lift it up and put it in a safe place. Next is we're going to disconnect these two MAP sensors. And the way to do it is the following. There's a little tab up top. You press on it, you press and pull. Just like that. Same thing on the other side. You press and pull. Simple. Next step is to loosen up these intake brackets. Unplug any of the hoses. This one here also, you squeeze on the sides and it pops off. Last but not least, we can remove the top screws from the airbox, and to do so you're using your T25 Torx screwdriver. I actually have this Tecton set that I'll link in the description. It comes in very handy. Okay, now with the brackets loosened up, the MAPs disconnected, the airbox unscrewed, we should be able to simply lift it up and take out the cover. Maybe not so easy. There we go. As you recall, these are my K&N filters, and after about 10,000 miles, they look pretty clean, actually. And to those curious creatures, this is what it looks like inside with the box removed. You can see there's a snorkel up here that provides you cold air into this box. So this is a very efficient design. And now, just in case there's any difference between the MAP sensors, we're gonna do it one at a time. I'm gonna grab my T20 Torx and remove this MAP sensor. This is what a MAP sensor looks like. And now keep in mind, intakes have fronts and backs. This is sort of dummy proof. It doesn't let you put it in backwards. If you put it in backwards, see, the shape simply doesn't fit. There's a little point at the bottom and a flat area up top. So again, you will never mess up the orientation. And before we reinstall the filter, let's just look at the difference between these two covers. Volume wise, obviously the Dinan one is bigger. Flip it upside down, a bit more room in there, but again, it's to accommodate that circular filter. The inlets obviously are the same because they are connected to the same pipe. So now we're gonna grab our brand new Dinan filter, stick it in here, and once it's in, we'll tighten it. It sits nice and tight. Then we go ahead and install it back. First step is, first of all, to make sure you don't scratch it, but two is to plug it into the pipe. All right, it clicked in place. Then let's align it over the box. Then we take out these screws from the original box and we insert the screws in these holes. Okay, let's not forget to reconnect the MAF. And this side is done. On this side, again, everything has been disconnected. We should be able to simply lift, actually this tab, and then unplug it. Beautiful. So the difference between these two pipes is the following, just like before, much deeper box. Pipe diameter, I believe, is the same. This one, the OEM one is flattened, whereas the aftermarket one is round. This is to accommodate for, I guess, spacing, but I think this one is bent upwards more, so that's why it doesn't rub. We're gonna remove the filter, and just like before, it's pretty clean actually. Let me show you where the snorkel is. So this is the true cold air intake that gets fed from the front of the car, and it lands in this box, providing you with a true cold air intake. So anyone who ever questions stock intakes, I'm sorry, but these are very, very efficient. All right, and just like before, we're going to, this time we're going to do the filter first, and then we'll do the MAF. It only goes in one way. So the easiest way to do it is you settle the box in first, and then you put it in the pipe. Just make sure it's all the way in. Let's reconnect this hose so we don't forget. And this one simply just plugs in. We're going to reconnect this bracket. Next is we're going to reconnect the MAF sensor. Let's not forget about tightening this clamp. And the last step, once again, is to remove these screws and reinsert them in this new box. All right, everything is bolted up. Let me give it a quick rinse. Well, things are easy to reach. And it's time to put everything back together. So this is it. We're gonna take it for a test drive, but first let's take a closer look at what we just did. So this is a brand new cold air intake. You can see how beautiful the carbon fiber is, and it's actually very, very nicely done. Even if it doesn't provide me any gains, it gives me a bit of a bling under the hood, which is always a nice touch, and it matches with the carbon fiber brace quite well. You've got this cool Dinan logo in the middle, which tells people that you have 2 extra horsepower, but overall it's a very pretty design. Let's take it for a spin now. Okay, so far no difference. Let's see what happens when we open it up a little bit. Okay, so if you are looking for a sound increase, this intake is not that. Yep. zero sound increase, at least from the inside. Let's open the windows. All right, okay, from the outside, I actually do hear it a little bit. You can hear the turbo spool. Okay, all right, that's not bad actually. Okay, so let's try to hear it one more time. We're in second gear, windows slightly open. And what makes the difference are these thin carbon fiber intake walls. They give you a bit, just a tiny bit of noise. Nothing to get excited about, but again, it looks kind of cool, so why not? Now, what we're going to try to do now is we're going to put the mic in the engine bay. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this little engine noise clip. I hope it sounded good. But anyways, about this intake, am I happy that I did it? Yes, because I got a crazy good deal on it. Does it give you extra sound? Just a tiny bit. You hear just a tiny bit on the inside. On the outside, you hear a little more, but again, it's nothing to write home about. Does it feel more powerful? Nope. Power feels the same, and maybe, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily feel 2 extra horsepower of a difference. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Try to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and thank you very much for watching. I will see you as always in the next video. Bye bye. Okay, so in third gear, from like 1800 RPM, you hear it just a little bit more. Which sucks though, that means I'm gonna be burning more gas. First it's the exhaust, now it's the intake. What's next? Maybe I got something else for a good price. Stay tuned.